Moses reveals the surprising return of the Nephilim after the flood, a fact unknown to many. Welcome to Aspiring God's Word, where we uncover the layers of biblical history to reveal hidden truths and fascinating stories. If you enjoy our content, subscribe, and we will bring you engaging and enlightening videos. Today, we'll unravel how the Nephilim reappeared on Earth. Various theories exist, from giants stowing away on Noah's Ark to new transgressions by fallen angels. Yet today, we'll explore the direct explanation provided by Moses himself. Many believe that the Nephilim, those towering giants born from the union of fallen angels and earthly women, were still roaming around after the flood. For the uninitiated, these Nephilim were a big deal, literally and figuratively. They were part of the reason why God decided to hit the reset button on humanity through a massive flood, as described in the book of Genesis. According to the scriptures, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. It seems even back then, size really did matter. During the era of Jared, these celestial rule-breakers descended to teach mankind a few tricks, none of them good. Despite the reboot, whispers of their survival floated around. Genesis paints a picture of a world so steeped in evil that even the birds were probably up to no good, leading God to declare, "I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them." Yet, in this pre-apocalyptic chaos, Noah emerged as the sole beacon of righteousness, the divine favorite in a sea of sinners. God's solution? An ark. Crafted from gopher wood, this wasn't just any boat, it was an escape pod for the virtuous. And so, as the floodwaters claimed every breath of life, not aboard the ark, a clean slate was seemingly achieved. The book of Genesis specifies that every living substance was destroyed which was upon the face of the ground. It appeared that Noah, his family, and his floating zoo were the lone survivors. But here comes the million-dollar question. If the slate was wiped clean, how on earth did the Nephilim make a comeback? That's where most scratch their heads and look back to the good book for answers. Did some celestial beings pull a fast one and sneak back onto the scene? The plot indeed thickens with every ancient word. Stay tuned, grab your popcorn, or better yet a scroll and a quill for notes, as we delve deeper into this biblical mystery that's got more twists than your average serpent in the garden. And remember, like, comment, and subscribe for more divine detective work right here on our channel. In the book of Numbers, chapter 13, verse 33, we're told about a scouting mission that might have caused more than a few grey hairs. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Another translation puts it this way: we saw the Nephilim there, the descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. This was the hair-raising report from 12 spies sent by Moses to scope out the land of Canaan, a land flowing with milk, honey, and apparently giant-sized problems. The spies' report wasn't just alarming, it was almost mythical. They spoke of the sons of Anak, towering figures that made our intrepid scouts feel like bugs. But where did these giants come from, especially considering everyone but Noah and his cruise guests were supposed to have been wiped out by the flood? Let's rewind to Genesis, where right after the flood it's reported, "And the sons of Noah that went forth of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Ham is the father of Canaan. These are the 3 sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread." So, if the earth repopulated from Noah's family tree, how did we end up back at giants? There weren't any stowaways on the ark, that's for sure. The usual suspect is that another batch of fallen angels got up to no good post-flood, but the book of Enoch throws cold water on that theory. It talks about the severe punishments meted out to the original misbehaving angels, so harsh that even the archangel Michael was quaking. He's quoted as saying, "The power of the Spirit transports and makes me tremble because of the severity of the judgment of the secrets, the judgment of the angels. Who can endure the severe judgment which has been executed, and before which they melt away?" Basically, any angel thinking about a repeat performance would have to be out of their heavenly mind. So, If rogue angels are off the table, what's left? It seems we might have to look at Noah's family itself. Perhaps the genetic propensity for gigantism carried through, popping up generations later in Canaan. It wouldn't be the first time an unexpected gene has turned up after several generations, right? Just ask anyone who's discovered they're the only left-handed red-haired person in a family of right-handed brunettes. The puzzle of the Nephilim's survival might not have an easy solution, but it does make you think about what else might be lurking in our ancient texts and family trees, just waiting to be rediscovered. And as for those angels, well, they're probably still sitting tight, not keen on making the same mistake twice. So, how did the Nephilim make a post-flood comeback? Well, there are a couple of theories floating around. One popular idea points to Ham's lineage, possibly even Japheth's. From Genesis, we know that Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, were the patriarchs of everyone post-flood. Particularly noteworthy is Ham, father of Canaan, because as the narrative unfolds, these are the three sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. Post-flood, there's an infamous episode where Noah indulges in a bit too much wine, leading to some questionable behavior from Ham, the details of which are saved for another thrilling episode. This led Noah to curse not Ham directly, but his son Canaan, saying, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren." Quick pause. Did you know many assume Ham's whole lineage was cursed, and thus wrongly justify historical biases against certain groups? However, the Bible specifically curses Canaan, not Ham, debunking those misconceptions. Back to our genealogical saga, Ham's descendants include Cush, Mizraim, the biblical Egyptians, Phut, and yes, the infamous Canaan. In Genesis 10, Canaan's lineage is detailed extensively, and it's from these descendants that the Canaanite nations sprang, nations like the Jebusites, Amorites, and others right up to Sidon and beyond to Gerar in Gaza, even Sodom and Gomorrah. These Canaanites, who mingled and multiplied in the land later known as Canaan, were noted to carry on some hefty sinful traditions, including, you guessed it, a bit of that giant gene. When the Israelites were prepped to enter this promised land, God's directive was crystal clear: wipe out these nations. Why? To prevent their heinous practices from corrupting God's chosen people. But of the cities of these people, which the Lord thy God doth give thee for an inheritance, thou shalt save alive nothing that breatheth, thou shalt utterly destroy them, were the divine instructions. Now, how did this recessive giant gene survive, you ask? Here's a simplified genetics 101. Think of it like the eye color trait. Dominant traits, like dark eyes, can hide the recessive ones, like light eyes, but mix two carriers of this recessive gene, and voila, you might just get a giant in the mix, much like Goliath showing up generations later. So, if genetics played dice with humanity's fate, the Canaanites were essentially walking, talking genetic lotteries, occasionally hitting the giant jackpot. This genetic persistence explains why, despite no Nephilim on the ark, giants reappeared, causing all sorts of biblical-scale troubles for Israel later on. Still scratching your head? Think of it as nature's wildcard, ensuring life in the post-diluvian world was anything but mundane. And remember, if you're enjoying this unraveling of ancient mysteries, hit like, drop a comment and subscribe for more deep dives into biblical histories. So, here's a head-scratcher for you. If someone aboard Noah's Ark had a hidden penchant for gigantism, courtesy of those infamous fallen angels, it's likely that many of their descendants appeared perfectly normal. However, when two such carriers got together and had a child, you could end up with someone like Goliath showing up at the family reunion. Yes, genetics can be quite the sneak, hiding traits for generations, until just the right, or wrong, depending on how you look at it, combination brings them back into the spotlight. And speaking of family dynamics, the Good Book has its share of close-knit families, really close. For instance, the Book of Jubilee, the Book of Enoch, and the Book of Jasher all dish the dirt on some rather intimate family ties. Even the Bible doesn't shy away from it. Genesis tells us Sarah was actually Abraham's half-sister. They shared the same father, but not the same mother. They ended up married, suggesting that keeping it in the family wasn't just a one-off event, but more of a running theme from Adam and Jared's days right through to Noah. This bit of biblical family planning explains why traits like gigantism could have flourished among Canaan's descendants, seeing as they tended to marry within their tribe. It's like playing genetic bingo, and sometimes you hit the jackpot with a giant. But let's not forget, God put a hard stop to these close encounters in Leviticus 18:9, advising against uncovering the nakedness of close kin, which was probably a relief to many at the time. Did you know that Goliath was part of Ham's family tree? That's right. This Philistine giant hailed from a line that included not just giants, but some of the most formidable folks in the Old Testament. Genesis outlines that Ham's descendants included Mizraim, ancient Egypt, from whom the Philistines came. This connection is traced back to Genesis 10, detailing the generations post-flood. If you're finding all this a bit much, don't worry, it's not just you. The saga of giants, divine commands, and ancient genealogies can take a bit to wrap your head around. The gist of it is, though Noah and his sons were on the level, their wives might have brought some unexpected genetic quirks to the party, like the potential for producing giants. That's why there was such a divine emphasis on wiping out the Canaanites. Moses, in his writings, continually highlights Canaan's separation from Noah's righteous lineage, underscoring why these giants needed to go. As seen in Deuteronomy 7, God was pretty clear about not mixing it up with the Canaanites, not through marriage or any other means. So, there you have it, the likely backstory on how Goliath and his tall buddies could have crashed into biblical history against all post-flood odds. If this has your brain in knots, feel free to hit rewind on this video. Sometimes understanding the Old Testament requires a little repetition and maybe a giant-sized cup of coffee.